What's up, everybody?
Got junior guard Jahmai Mashack here. Ready for questions.
Jahmai, just how much excitement is there ahead of the matchup when you're going to get to face Mark Sears?
It's definitely exciting for me. I always want to play the best. So, he's obviously has a season that's been really good so far. So, I'm just, excited to play against somebody that has a lot of hype behind him and has been playing well and just trying to figure out ways to stop that.
What's the key to a quick turnaround, especially when the two games that you're dealing with are both really physical games?
I think it's just, preparation. I don't think preparation will ever fail you, in any aspect, even outside of basketball. I think that's one of the big things that we're coming in and just, knowing that throughout this season we're not changing our game plan. We adjust and we improve, but we never change what we do. And especially on the defensive end, we know it's going to be a very physical game with, both the teams that we're playing next. And we're just excited to have that physicality and to play against teams that are really good. It's what basketball's all about, competition.
Hey, Jahmai, when this week started, how hard was it to focus on Auburn, now Alabama, as opposed to, man, we got Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, Kentucky. How hard is it just to
compartmentalize? Yeah. I think it's for a lot of players and a lot of teams it can be overwhelming. But for us, we just broke it down like it's an NCAA tournament. We take it one game at a time, 64, and then so on. And right now, we're just trying to focus on the team that's next. We were keyed in on Auburn, only focused on Auburn. We weren't thinking about any other team after that. Now that game is over, we're focused on, Alabama, and we're not worried about any other team after that. So you can't win, 2 games after this one. You got to focus on the game that you're playing right now and win the game that you're playing right now. And that's all we're thinking about. We're not forward thinking about anything. To us, it's still a long season ahead, and we want it to be even longer and continue to, have a lot of games to play. So, that's our mindset going in.
How important or valuable is an experience like this where you're kind of playing a title game before you actually get into the NCAA tournament?
I think it's definitely something that will benefit us. It's gonna show our toughness and show our resilience and our ability to adjust in the game, which I think is going to be important in a game like this. They run and they go up and down, and they're very they don't go away from what they do. They've shown throughout this whole season that they're not going to go away from the offense that they run. And so no matter what we throw at them, they're going to figure out a way to adjust to that, but they're not going to change what they do, and we're not going to change what we do. So I think just the preparation that goes behind this Alabama game is going to help us in, all the other games that come until after this one.
After the Auburn game, Dalton said that he wanted to get matched up on Broome because he's one of the best in the league. How have you seen Dalton embrace those tough matchups, especially heading into this Alabama game?
I think that's just Dalton wanting to be a competitor. In my eyes, I think, they play 2 totally different positions. So I didn't think they were going to put Broome on DK as much as they did. And, obviously DK is going to, he's an amazing offensive player. So, I think he's just excited for big games, and he's just as competitive as I am. And I think that's why we both click, on and off the court, because we want to win. That's our main goal. We want to win. We want to get better, individually and as a team. And that's just the kind of conversations that I have with him, just going into the next game, just, all right, who we're playing, who's their key guys, who are guys that might surprise us off the bench. We look at stuff like that, and, that just makes him a competitor, and, it makes me a competitor as well.
Does Coach Barnes change at all this time of year, or is he kind of just the same intense person he's been all year? Do you sense kind of a next level?
I think, during practice, he doesn't change. I think he's been like this, all year. He's intense, and he wants things to go like he has it in his head, and, he wants us to execute well. But I think during the games, he kind of relaxes a little bit more, because you kind of have to when you have a team like this that has a lot of seniors, has a lot of, veteran guys, has a lot of guys that's been through the ringer and has been through injuries, been through, different circumstances, and, kind of has that experience. So he knows he doesn't need to, get up and yell as much during the games. He's kind of more relaxed. But during practice, no, he's the same. I think he's always going to be the same, because that's just what's worked for him for, as many years as he's been coaching.
Mike wrote about your preparation and kind of studying of watching players before you face them. How does that change when you're facing a player for the second time in the season?
You look more at the game when you were on him, instead of just games that they were playing outside of that. When you're playing against a guy that you haven't played against, you could only go off of the defenders that they were going against and how they moved, how intense they were, if they were good defenders. But now that I have tape of me going against the guy that I'm going against the second time, now I know what stuff I shouldn't do, what stuff worked, what stuff I should do, and also what he's changed in his game in order to combat whatever I was doing in that game. So it's basically like a chess game, man. Like you make an adjustment, you make a move, he makes a move, you have to counteract that. So now it's my turn to counteract whatever improvements he did to his game, and just kind of go off of that and become even better. And trust me, I'm gonna just make it even harder for him, as just as much as I did the last game.
What makes Mark Sears such a good scorer, and what did you feel like you personally did well in the first meeting?
Poise. I think he's a very poised player. He's a very confident guy. You can't play in this league if you're not confident. And those are the two things that stood out to me when I was going against him. Even with Estrada as well, those are probably the two things that I would say stood out to me. Just, he didn't rush himself, but kind of what I did was just, I had to be aggressive. Even though I know he's a poised player, everybody's human. Everybody has that voice in their head like, oh my gosh, this guy is not gonna relax. He's still here, he's still intense, and no matter what, you can be the most poised player in the world. That stuff bothers a human being, and if you're not human if it doesn't. So knowing that he still has those human traits, I know I can still go into the game and be an aggressor, and him having to do what he's going to do, I'm going to adjust. But I definitely say he's a poised player. He's calm. He's collected. He doesn't rush himself too much, and he plays with a lot of pace.
You take a lot of psychology into the game. At what age did you realize, like, I can use like this mental warfare?
My mom was a big psychology. She was a psychology major too. So she, I think ever since I was probably 12, it was something that she really keyed in on me. And I think it's something that's underrated, and I don't see a lot of players use it. But me, man, basketball is a game. Basketball is a game, and, people play with emotion, and you can use that emotion that people play with to use that against them. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely something that I use every time I go on the court, just because you can use it on basketball and outside of basketball. It's just human behavior. What you do is going to be a response, and whatever response they have, how you're going to counteract that is going to be your game plan. And that's what I come in. I go in and I look at the guy's face, I look at their eyes, look at their body language, and if I know that they're a little bit off, they're not feeling as confident, that's when, you go in for the kill. So that's stuff that I've been using ever since I was, little defensively, and I'm starting to use more on the other side of the ball offensively to do that to defenders. If they feel like, a little bit more backed up, a little bit more on their heels, that's when I should go attack. So I'm continuing to get better and better with that, but I think the sky's the limit when you use psychology, and it can, take you far.
Compared to last year or the year before, do you feel any sort of difference around this team heading into March?
I think last year, this time, we were still getting kind of used to Sakai not being here. And I think that was kind of, really what just threw the whole season, through a loop. And especially for me, it was just kind of different trying to learn a new position and to be confident in that position and trying to figure out ways. Now, obviously, we still were able to get to the Sweet 16, so it was still, a good year. But outside of that, it was just kind of more trying to figure out the new roles of guys and who's going to step up, who's going to kind of, you can't take the places of Kai, so who was going to kind of pick up some of the pieces that he had. But now, we have Zakai, and we have a lot of guys, and luckily we're not a very injured team. We have all the players that we want to playing. So I think it just gives us kind of confidence going into these matchups to know that we're healthy and that we're going to go with it in a competitive way.
How much do you all talk about winning an SEC championship?
We talk about it sometimes, but honestly, we really are just excited about the next game. We're the kind of team, like, we know these type of teams don't come around often. So we're taking it one game at a time. We don't want to look ahead. You know, we want to keep this bunch together, and we want to take it one game at a time and really look forward to each game that we're playing. You know, because this is a special season, it's a special year. We want to make it, you know, as long as possible.
How do you see Jonas flip that switch when he's on the court? Because he's a very nonchalant guy off the court, but when he's on the court, sometimes he's like screaming. He said he was yelling out a lot of cuss words after that one dunk. So how do you see him flip that switch?
It's funny, you know, with Jonas, you kind of have to challenge him at times, and you have to compliment him too at the same time. You have to let him know that you are the best center in this league, and you have to believe that. And when he believes that, it'll go a long way. You know what I'm saying? I think that's one of the best traits of Jonas is that he can kind of flip that switch. He's very nonchalant off the court, you know, very to himself. You know, he still has his goofy days, but, you know, I'm around him so much that, you know, when I know I can go at him and I can get him going, I'll do it. And I know what buttons to push. So I think that's just something that, you know, I think I know Jonas as well as anybody, you know, so I know kind of what buttons to push to make him really go out there. But as time went on, man, he does it on him. He does it to himself. You know, he sees a matchup, he wants to go at somebody, he will. So he definitely has that fire in him.
Anything else for Jahmai? Thanks, Jahmai.
Thank you.